items appearing on the agenda for a closed session. Do we have anyone that wants to speak?
We don't have any at this time, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
No e-comments?
We do not have any either.
And no one on the line?
No one on the line that I can see, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, we will adjourn to closed session. Thank you.
Can I recuse myself?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I'd like to recuse myself from 4 Charlie,
Excellent.
or C.
Thank you.
Well, so noted for the record, Mayor. Thank you.
Are slid into the number 1 slot. That individual will receive the highest number of points. So a number 1 candidate, essentially, if there are 19 that are there, would receive 19 points. The second would receive 18, all the way down to the 19th candidate, which will receive 1 point. So each council member will have that scoring sheet. At the end of that process, Daryl will then tabulate all of those scores, and the top 7 candidates, based on that scoring from all the candidates or from all the council, will then be provided publicly so that everybody can see the tallying. So that's how the system has been set up. The spreadsheets have been set up so that as soon as the discussions are all done, Daryl will be able to tabulate on his side.
Excellent. Thank you. Madam Mayor, I have, in going through the list, I'm noticing there's another applicant that says out of city limits, Antoine Jarvis. Does not say sphere. It says out of city limits. So could we get a clarification on that? Yes. I don't know where he lives. Antoine Jarvis, are you here? Let me check.
This is supposed to be via Zoom.
Yes, he is not on our Zoom list, but when he...
We need his address.
Right.
Mr. Jarvis did confirm, Mayor and Council, that he would have been here present. He did not request a Zoom link, so therefore none was provided.
Okay. So we will cross him off the list or keep him? Yeah. I mean, if he's not here, then. Okay.
Thank you.
I think that, yeah. Should we keep going? Yeah. All right, let's go.
The highest person going to be 17 now, or still 19?
17, but we'll do it at the very end. So the first name is Stacy Olson.
Ms. Olson also, Mayor, she did request a Zoom link, which was provided to her. I do not see her on the active Zoom link that we have. I have asked all of those that were to Zoom in with us to be here early at 5 o'clock and ready to go. I do not see them, so it is entirely up to the Mayor and Council how you wish to proceed.
Okay. If you're okay, we're going to go to the next candidate. Go to the next candidate. The next one is Antoine Jarvis. So he is not present. I've already established that. Next, we have Marianne Darwin. Right, you'll have 2 minutes, and I'll just set the timer here on my phone. This one is not working.
Good evening, Council. As you all know, that I am here. Most of the meetings I've been coming for 4 years. I do keep a close eye on what does go on in our city. I have lived here for 5 years. I never thought I'd be involved with the city as much as I am and know as much as I do. However, I do feel that safety is a very important part of our city. and I do watch it really closely. I live on a very busy street, so I do make phone calls. I am very active. I'm also very active in the city. I do volunteer my time when I can, and I also do drive around on the streets. I am driving in San Jacinto and Hemet every day of the week for my job. I do deliver Meals on Wheels to the seniors and people in need. So I am out there and I do talk to the citizens of Hemet and see what they want and what their concerns are. So I am very attuned to what is going on and what is happening and what our residents want and what they're asking for. And if it's possible, I do research and find out and do give them an answer. So it helps them to stay involved and to know what our city is doing. I have been watching the Measure U. I do see where the money gets spent. I do watch it. I do understand how it works. It is just an oversight. It's not where we make decisions. It's not where we tell you how to spend it, but it is under a watchful eye because the citizens and the residents of Hemet do want to know what is happening with their 1%. And so I feel that being just a citizen and a resident, and I don't really have any holds or ties, or I'm not a business owner or anything, so I'm really not, I'm not tied to anybody. I do make my own decisions and do go on fact. Thank you.
Mayor, point of order. It appears that Mr. Jarvis is now on Zoom. So I don't know what the mayor wants to do, but I see Antoine Jarvis on the Zoom call, so just wanted to let you know that.
Can you get an address from him? And are we going to continue even though he missed his spot? Because I put him at the end. Is that all, everybody good with that? Speak. Say it. Let me just throw his name back in the bag and then we'll...
Mr. Jarvis, can you hear us? There's maybe an issue with his camera. I see him clearly on video. He's not muted, so.
All right, we will we'll continue and hopefully he can figure that out. We have Denny Antoinette Mazingo.
Ms. Mazingo is also on Zoom.
Here.
Ms. Mazingo, if you can hear us, you may proceed.
You have 2 minutes to go over your qualifications and how you would be an asset to the Measure U committee.
Can you hear me? I can barely hear you, but can you hear me?
We can hear you fine.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Denny Antoinette Mazingo. If you have my application, I'd like to say hello and thank you to you, Madam, Mayor, and the City Council. I am an attorney. I have been active in the community running for office for the past 8 years. I feel that the Measure U is extremely important for our city. We are no longer a small town. Hemet is a city now, and we need to operate on that level. Our police and our fire are extremely important. They need personnel. They need equipment to cover and protect the citizens of our city. I have been active, as you know, in the streets every day, working with those that are out there. I know the needs and I know what is needed for the police and fire department and the other divisions that are part of the fire department. The IMS, I know we need to open up our other fire department, which is only staffed with one truck over there. We need to have this Measure U. We need need to be able to see what is going on and share with the council and also with the constituents what we're doing with the money and how it is benefiting the city here.
Thank you. Now you have 40 more seconds, so if you want to
I
keep
have 40
talking,
more
you can.
seconds?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you know I love to talk. I'm sorry I'm not there in person, but I am a little under the weather. I think one of the most important things is to protect our city, to grow with our city. And we haven't been doing that, and this is something that we really need to do. It is mandatory, it's needed now, not tomorrow. And the diverseness, we need to look at that when we do hiring for the police and the fire department as well. I yield my time to another client.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Diane Graff. She'll be
Madam
via Zoom also.
Mayor, Ms. Graff is on the Zoom call as well.
Perfect.
Give us a moment to give her some voice. She needs to unmute her mic.
Can you ask her to update her mic?
Mrs. Graff, can you unmute your mic?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. Mayor and council members, thank you very much for this opportunity. I have been, over the last 2 years, a Measure U member, committee member, and have appreciated being appointed to that position and feel very strongly about supporting Measure U and the public safety in our community. I've lived in the area for 30 years. I love this city of Hemet. Live in Seven Hills the last 19 years. And I think it's critically important that we understand the Ordinance 1918 and our Resolution 4731 and what the voters wanted us to use these funds for. Measure U has a great deal of money right now that we need to utilize appropriately. Some of it has already been designated, and I know we want to have transparency with our public. They need to know exactly where that's coming from. As the other people, I'm sure, understand, our police and fire and those that are supporting them are critical to the growth of our community, and I know the council members feel the very same way. I feel strongly that my finance background and the ability to look into the financials and with the city manager and treasurer, finance director, providing me with the information and the committee members that we can get the word out to the community and be sure we are transparent and know exactly where those funds are going. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would look forward to having the opportunity to be there in the committee another 2 years. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Carol Kendrick.
Ms. Kendrick, Mayor is also on the Zoom call, so we'll ask her to...
Good evening. Sorry about that. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Sorry. Having a city echo here. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to be considered for the Measure U Committee. My name is Carol Kendrick, and I've lived in the city of Hemet since 1999. I work in municipal government. I've been a planner for the County of Oversight, the city of Hemet, and the city of Beaumont, and I am trying to become more involved with the city of Hemet committees and commissions and helping guide the city as it grows. I do have strong experience in government, especially with the city of Hemet, where I've done the majority of my career. So I think that would be an asset to the committee. Thank you, and I'll yield my time to the next applicant.
Thank you. Next candidate, we have Norm Paris.
Good evening, council. Is this on? Can you hear me okay?
Is the green light on the bottom?
Green light is on.
You might just have to talk. There you go.
You're good now.
How about now?
Perfect.
Good evening, council and mayor. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I moved to Hemet in 1981. Went to middle school here. Went to high school in Hemet. Been here going on about 40 years now. Started selling real estate back in 1991, so I'm got about 30 years of selling real estate, and I still do need to work, but I do know the value of serving. I do a lot in the community as far as serving in different organizations. Habitat for Humanity was one. I served on the board many years there. We did the 6-home development over on Latham. Currently, Grandfathers for Golf, which is catering to our youth here in the Valley. Him at San Jacinto Valley. I am also on the board of directors for the Southwest Riverside County Association of Realtors. We have 5,000 realtors that we service, and we meet every month, and we discuss funding, what we can do to help our membership. I'm always looking for opportunities where I could serve in the community, and I had even served on the Rocks Committee when it was formed quite a long time ago when I was the Association of Realtors president. I'd like you to consider having me on this committee. I'd love to serve the city again. And anyway, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's good seeing you all again, too.
Thank you. Next, we have Holly Temez.
Good evening. My name is Holly Temez, and first I'd like to say thank you to the mayor and to every council member for taking your time out to make the city of Hemet a better place for us to live and to work. I've been a registered nurse for 29 years, and I'm also a small business owner. And over the past year, I've really been doing some thinking and digging and looking into what am I doing to participate and to make Hemet a better place. Why am I qualified? I would look to my healthcare experience. I've participated on countless committees in making decisions to ensure that the highest quality of care is delivered. I've been an associate director at Cedars-Sinai and also a surgical services manager in an operating room where we have created budgets and I have overseen millions of dollars that have passed through the budget. I've been responsible for capital purchases, equipment, salaries, profits and losses. I provided oversight for a brand new outpatient surgery center, and I showed excellence in ensuring proper processes were followed and that the funds were all accounted for. As far as qualities, I'm a person of honesty and integrity. The Word of God guides my life. And I may make mistakes, but I cannot be bought off by politicians or wealthy business people. I follow through with my commitments, and I do not easily give up. I'm a solutions-oriented person, and I bring ideas to the table. While others may be the big picture and see the big picture, my strength is in details. So provided the opportunity, I'm confident that I can bring a positive aspect to Measure U. Thank you.
Next, we have Lori Van Arsdale.
Hello, my name is Antoine Jarvis. Can everybody hear me?
We are going to wait and have you go last because we already called you, but I'm sorry.
No worries. I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, you saw my voice change, right? Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Lori Van Arsdale. I'm especially interested in the Measure U committee. I was a part of the group that worked to put Measure U on the ballot with the City Council's cooperation and worked with the team that really worked with the community to get this thing passed. So in addition to that, my experience has been 16 years on the council, very long ago. I was on the council from 92 to 2008. And so I have a special understanding of what you're going through in many, many circumstances. And then I especially had a sense about what you have to deal with regarding public safety and getting it funded. One thing that really comes to mind when it comes to getting funds for the public safety is our ability to attract good economic development, et cetera, so that you have the sales tax to pay for it. So my sense and my understanding comes from a little different direction than many, and I especially believe that this is a critical asset for us, not only right now and getting us through the next couple years, but in being able to prove to the community that we were responsible and acted responsibly with these funds so that the community can consider passing it again, because we are the only city that has a sunset clause on Measure U. And if we don't get that to continue, we are going to be competing with cities around us that have a tax measure that goes on indefinitely. So it's very, very critical that your Measure U Oversight Committee is transparent, make sure we're transparent, responsible, and make good recommendations to you as a council who are going to make the decisions that will make the community feel safe and also make the community want to help out and do it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have George Dixon.
Mayor and Council, thank you very much. My name is Dick Clark. I do have a George in the front of my name, but never recognized it much. Thank you for your time. This is a repeat performance for me. 2 years ago I came and interviewed and became a member of the Measure U committee. I've been in Hemet since 2016 after the passing of my father-in-law, Richard Dick Howard. My wife grew up in the valley here. Their family are pioneers to the valley. What I bring to Measure U is my experience. I am a retired law enforcement officer. I had 23.7 years of service in law enforcement before retiring due to injuries. I also have 6 seasons of wildland fire experience, including 3 of them in the Apple Valley and Hole in the Wall area. In my family, since I was 3rd grade, have all been involved with volunteer fire departments. So I've lived the life. I've got the scars physically and emotionally to prove it. And with all of that, my service at retirement didn't stop. My wife and I have always served in our communities. I was on commissions when I lived up north. When we came down here, my wife and I are also board members at the Friends for the Cemetery, San Jacinto. And when I saw the first time around the application, I thought, man, I want to do this. Not only because I've got an idea with cities, one of the cities I work for is about the size of Hammond. what a lot of the needs are, law enforcement-wise and fire-wise. But there we go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Suzanne Cosma. Okay, did we move this to the top?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and members of the public. My name is Suzanne Cosma. First, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be reconsidered for the Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee. I do live in the sphere of influence. I live approximately 1/2 to 1 block east of District 1. I'm just outside the city limits, but we know that crime doesn't begin and end at the city limits. I have served on the Measure U Oversight Committee for the last 4 years, since 2017 when it was initially established. I've lived in the Valley for 48 years, and I've seen a lot of changes in the Valley. I have a vested interest in the community, and I certainly want to see the quality of life issues that police and fire have been addressing for the last 4 years. I'd like to see those continue and make Hemet even more prosperous and more safe for both visitors and citizens. I continue to shop, buy gas, eat, everything in the city limits. I was employed by the city of Hemet for over 30 years. The majority of the time was in the police department as a non-safety employee. But I have also worked closely with fire departments, both as the human resources director. I worked closely with fire both here in Hemet and the city of Big Bear Lake, so I'm familiar with fire also. And I did start my career in the police department as a public safety dispatcher. I think Measure U is certainly vital to the city of Hemet, and I hope that after the sunset that the voters will continue to support that measure. My family is very pro-public safety. My husband's a retired peace officer. Our son just retired from Orange County Sheriff as a helicopter pilot, and both my son and husband served in the United States Marine Corps. So we're essentially dedicated to public service. I believe I have a combination of education and experience that would continue to be an asset to Measure U Oversight Committee. Oh, gosh. Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Next, we have Sarah Cortez.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and City staff. My name is Sarah Cortez Apalon, and I've been a resident here in the City of Hemet for the past 6 years. I live over in McSweeney Farm with my husband and 3 children. For the past 13 years, I have worked for the City of Paris. I do administer their Community Development Block Grant Program, and as well, we implemented the California Violence Intervention and Prevention Program, which Councilmember Krupa was a part of our advisory board. So I was introduced to the crime stats through CalVIP program here in the City of Hemet, and that's actually what's kind of prompted me to get more involved in the city that I live in. Like I said, I've worked with the City of Paris for the past 13 years. I feel that I've been an effective public servant for over a decade, and I'd like to continue to serve in that role as a resident for my city and continue the public safety of Hemet outlined in the resolution for the Oversight Committee. Through my work with the City of Paris, I do have experience in monitoring and auditing financial statements, which would be required as part of this Oversight Committee, making recommendations. And also I did serve as part of the RDA Oversight Board, with the City of Paris, so I do have an understanding as to how oversight committees work and function within the sphere of municipalities. I do hold a master's in public administration, which was very much tailored to city government functions, and I'm currently pursuing my doctorate in social work. I believe that the combination of my experience, my work experience, and my education would fit perfectly through with this committee. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Tammy Chenault.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, members of City staff. I just thank you for this opportunity. I am a lifelong person. I was born and raised here in this valley, and I left for 20 years, came back 6.5 years ago, and this pandemic's given me a chance to think, how can I give back to my local community? Because as a teacher in the Val Verde Unified School District for the past 24 years, I've been involved. I've been involved with Paris and Moreno Valley and Meade Valley, giving back to those communities, working with CAL FIRE, and most recently the Val Verde Unified Police Department. I understand through work on committees at my school sites, where I'm in charge of programs, the importance of transparency when we are dealing with money, public money, with LCAP. Understanding we have to be very clear to the public on how we're spending the money and where it's going. I do recall when I moved back here to Hemet 6.5 years ago about Measure U, the importance of it being passed, the importance to our police and fire departments to get boots on the ground. I understand. I pay attention to our city council meetings. I read the agenda packets, everything. And I'm just looking for a way to give back to the city that I grew up in. I mean, I'm a product of this city, and I'm proud to say that. And I'm glad that I'm back. And, I don't know what else to say except thank you. Thank you so much for just giving me this opportunity. And, again, good evening. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the next name was William Fritz, and this is the one we have not, I'm sorry, that you're disqualified. Okay. Next we have Mary Moreland.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Meyer and council members and staff for this opportunity. It really is. I'd first like to you got your work cut out for you. It's amazing to see the wonderful pool of candidates that are really wanting to step up and serve. It's an honor to be a part of the city of Hemet and see that. My husband and I moved here a little over 20 years ago, and we love this valley. We have no intention of leaving. We live in Four Seasons. And our life's purpose now is to volunteer and to find ways to serve and give back. As you've probably seen from my resume, I have an extensive background in working for government. I oversaw the Office of Emergency Services and the Homeland Security grants, and know the politics of working with cities and the importance of staffing our public safety and equipping our public safety. That is so vital and really needs to happen. And I'm known as a team builder, a consensus builder. It's one of the things that I really enjoyed about working in government. And I've researched quite a bit about Measure U. I've supported it. We voted for it. And I know that it's coming up again for renewal. And the importance of that, I know a lot of the initial things that were proposed have not necessarily been met yet. It's very hard right now to attract and to keep good law enforcement officers, especially. There's just a dwindling pool of people and a lot of need. And so sometimes that isn't always easy to do, especially right now in the environment. A lot of young people aren't necessarily wanting to go into that. So I think it's vital that the city keep this measure going so that we can have the funding there to not only attract but to keep these law enforcement officers and fire people as well. I just really appreciate the opportunity to interview, and I know you have a hard selection in front of you. I would love the opportunity to serve, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Eric Gosh.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Moved here in 1964. I was a younger man then, and have resided in the Valley ever since, except for a few years away at school. I was very honored to work with Lori and a number of other people in the community to start the Keep Hemet Safe Political Action Committee, which was the legal entity that pursued Measure E, which was defeated, as you probably know, in 2016. And then re-upped for Measure U, which passed in November of 2016. As the member who's been on the committee, I guess, since the beginning, I have the experience of knowing the history of what this event is all about, in Measure U, and hopefully would like to continue that process. I want to speak that the committee has done an excellent job with the last several years. It's as I'm sure City Manager will know, it's a lot of work, and we do pester a lot of people and ask a lot of questions. Transparency is critical because 2027 is coming up fast, which is when the Measure U, of course, expires, and we need to renew it. 2024 if we're going to keep on a roll. As Lori said, it. People are going to leave if we don't renew it. It's very, very important. I want to say the four members we have currently, myself, Suzanne Cosma, Diane Graff, and Dick Clark, work very well together and would really appreciate some continuity in our committee. And again, this last year has been difficult, but we are looking forward to better times. And I know Chief Poost especially has great plans for the police department. Transparency is critical. We're an oversight committee. We're a financial committee. We're a financial review committee. We have to deal with numbers, and that's the focus of our committee. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Cami McGargle. Is she on Zoom by any chance?
She's not on the Zoom call, Mayor.
This one says Carol. I think we already had Carol. Monica Carey.
It's me. I thought I was lost in the back.
Good evening. I hope doesn't bother you my strong accent. I'm from Mexico, resident from this country. And I'm adopted.
Just pull your mic right down here.
And I'm adopted from this beautiful
city. In 2016, I worked for first time to promote in my community, the Hispanic community in this city in San Jacinto, the importance of the vote. And at the same time to register to vote. When I found out about Measure U, I was overwhelmed, because I knew in that moment you were not feeling safe in this city. It was a very high rate of criminals, and you were not feeling really safe. So I worked very hard in my community to pass this measure. Thankful they vote for the measure and pass. And since then, you can feel the difference. I know transparency is not an issue in this city. The only thing I can tell you, as a member of Hispanic community, there is some communities that are called illegals. But those people, they are not criminals. Those people, they pay taxes, and they are hard workers. But let me tell you what. If they have some domestic violence, they are afraid to call the police. So we had to set our goals for the money. We have for the Measure U, not only for human resources, not only for equipment. We need to set our goals for the different needs of different communities. Like the African Americans are different from the Hispanic community. So in some ways they're the same. They want to feel secure. But in another way, we have different issues. We need to see and look for them. I love this city. And I would like to tell you I'm grateful to be here. And I know every single member came over here to be interviewed. It will be a great access to this. So thankful for this, and I hope I can be chosen to be a voice for my community, because I know very well my community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, and last but not least, Mr. Fredrickson.
Someone here to me. No.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I was lucky enough to move to Hemet in 1982 with a baby and my wife under each arm, and this community embraced us tremendously. Since then, we've lived in Val Vista, we've lived in Diamond Valley, and now we live in Four Seasons, and so we've kind of transitioned through all of this. I think I've got a number of things going on. We have, our families are still here. We have 6 grandkids here, and we love the community, of course. If you look at my outline there, it shows that I'm a business owner. I sold my business to Hub International, one of the largest insurance brokers in the world, and I built that. I actually started in my garage here in Hemet, and we had at the end we had 30 employees. And very happy to be there. I'm now a vice president for Hub International on a national basis. I sit on the board of directors for the Bank of Hemet. I also sit with as a national faculty member for the National Institute for Insurance Education and Research. I have an extensive background in financial analysis with a variety of different entities. I sit on the advisory board for Casa. I sit on the advisory board as chairman for Hemet House Volunteers, where I was president of that organization for, I think, 20 years. We're talking about the ability to be transparent, and I think that's important, but we don't need to be only transparent for those of us who supported Measure U when it first came out, but we want to be transparent for the people who voted against it, because those are the people that are going to be mobile and vocal whenever we come up to turn the page and try to get additional funding in the future. And if we don't do that now, and if we don't do it properly now, it'll be too late to do that. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then we will go with Antoine Jarvis. Before you start, I have a few questions for you. Mr.
Go ahead, can you hear me?
Yes, before you begin, can you tell us the intersections at which you live?
The intersections in which I live?
Yes, please.
Was Santa Fe and Whittier.
Okay. All right, that's an acceptable sphere of influence for us, correct? Everyone? So, okay, we have to just go through qualifications, and we didn't have your address, but we had to make sure that you are in the sphere of influence since you are not in the city limits. So thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. My name is Antoine Jarvis. I came back to Hemet this last year. I lived here back in 2014, 2015, a little bit 2016. Just recently moved back. I always come back here. It's a beautiful environment. The people are amazing. I've never been in situations where I've experienced bad experiences from the locals. I just absolutely love it here. I just recently got back, and within the second month of me being here, I was pulled over for mistaken identity. My vehicle matched the car of somebody that one of the police officers were looking for. Pulled over, guns were drawn. Was told to roll my window down and put my hands up the window and cooperate. Long story short, it terrified me. It created a certain perspective on the police department here. When I first got here, I went to the mayor of Hemet and expressed the trauma that I experienced and expressed what took place. And I was told to I can either dwell on the negative or I can turn that negative around to something positive. And now I'm coaching. This is my club. I'm at my city youth center coaching co-ed basketball. Now because of that, turned the negative into a positive. And to me, it just goes to show how important the community is and how important it is for people to look at things and do our best to pull the positive out of bad situations.
Perfect.
I'm very excited about
you, but it is 2 minutes, and we have to be fair. So,
say again?
Your 2 minutes is up, so I'm sorry for interrupting, but thank you, and we have to continue with these, okay?
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. With the totals and with the number of applicants, I believe we are down to 16. Do you all get the same? We have, don't have Mr. Fitz. We do not have Olson or McGargle. So that should leave us with 16 qualified candidates that we interviewed. Okay, so if you, on the left scorecard, and if we could get that back up on the screen when you get a chance. The left scorecard is for you to score. The right scorecard is for when they announce the notes. So you can take notes here. So on the left-hand side, you go through and you score your candidates, 16 being the highest. Does anyone have any questions? Do you understand? Take your time. And
Olson is out?
Yes, Olson is out, McGargle is out, so you just put a line through those two. And you got an extra sheet because mine is really messy. I made notes all over it. I've got things scratched out. It's okay if you use like a separate column either on the left or the right. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right, I would like to welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Hemet City Council. I call this meeting to order. Can we have a roll call?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa.
Here.
Councilmember Lilienthal.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nails.
Here.
Mayor Meyer.
Here.
For the record, Mayor, all council members are present.
Thank you. If we can have everyone stand for the invocation by Pastor Jim McKelvey, and then we'll have our Mayor Pro Tem Nails lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mayor Meyer asked if I could pray bilingually, and I will do that for those Spanish speakers. Father in heaven, we thank you tonight for this opportunity to direct ourselves to you, the author of wisdom and source of all knowledge. Gracias, Señor, por esta oportunidad de reunirnos aquí en tu presencia, fuente de toda sabiduría. There are many issues before the council, always. Siempre hay muchos asuntos antes del concilio, como siempre. I don't have the answers, and perhaps even amongst the council members, they don't know the answers yet. Yo no tengo las respuestas, ni los miembros del concilio tal vez ni conocen las respuestas de los asuntos que tienen que tratar. But we come to you and ask for your Spirit to guide, to give clarity of mind and thought. Rogamos que tu Espíritu guíe para dar claridad y pensamiento, that they may deliberate rationally, peacefully, give them the knowledge and abilities that they need. Dalos las habilidades para razonar y resolver las cosas que necesitan que atender. May you help in the issues that to be discussed and resolved tonight. Ayuda de la resolución de los asuntos que se tienen que tratar en esta noche. And we ask it in the holy name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amén. Pedimos en el nombre santo de su Hijo, Jesucristo. Amén.
Please face the flag. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, City Attorney, can you please report out of our closed session?
Madam Mayor, we have no items to report out of closed session today.
Great, thank you. If council doesn't mind, I would like to take item 21C first. Out of order, is there any objections? Anyone? Okay. All right, City Clerk, we are going to move on to item 21C. So first, if there's anyone here to speak, whether it's telephonic or on Zoom or in the audience, then we'll take those speakers only right now.
I do have a couple of items, Madam Mayor, members of the council, for public comment. I will begin, if I may, Mayor, with those comments that were submitted electronically, and there were 4 of them.
Are these only for item 21C?
Oh, I'm sorry, no items, my apologies, no items or no speakers for that item, Madam Mayor.
Okay. We are going to go ahead and jump to item 21C on our agenda, and that is the appointment of candidates to serve on the Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee. Now, for those of you who are just joining us, we have just conducted interviews that began at 5:30 for the Measure U Oversight Committee, and we have, this council has heard from all the eligible candidates. We had a total of 16, and at this time, we will pull out our tally sheets, and if we could have that PowerPoint presentation. Is there a way for us to get our sheets back so that we can make our notes on there, please?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank all of the applicants for their interest in being a part of municipal government. It's very refreshing and exciting, actually, to see that we had that many people willing to step up and be a part of the governance of your city, whether it's an advisory board or committee. It really doesn't matter, and I just think we are really blessed to have not only the number but the quality of candidates that we've had. So thank everyone for their application.
Absolutely. Does anyone else want to speak on this? Okay. Yes. Russ is our official word crafter for the council, so sorry, you'd have to watch our council priority sessions, but you would understand. He's got us covered. But we do appreciate everyone and all the applications. So I believe we are going to have our, oh yes, okay. Oh, we have got it up here. So if you would like to write down the notes, if you can see this. We have our candidates listed here. So we have first is Cortez, number 2, Cosma, 3, Temez, 4 is Dick Clark, 5, Tammy Chenault, 6, Marianne, 7, Jarvis. And there are the points. You just hold those a minute so that we can take notes here. Okay, this is just a reminder. The Measure U Oversight Committee serves at the will of the council. So if there becomes a vacancy or if, I don't know, someone fails to attend or doesn't do their job, this council will call them back and we'll have more interviews and we will make sure that our Measure U committee is active and engaged in what they're supposed to be engaged in. So, Our recommended action tonight is to recommend the scores and ranking of these candidates and to approve the tallies that we have received here tonight. Do those scroll down? Do you guys want to see all the rest, or are you trying to write it down? Down? Okay, so do we have a motion from council to approve these top 7 we voted on tonight?
I can make the motion. Make the motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nails?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
The motion carries 5-0, Mayor, with the list of appointees as you have seen on the screen, and everyone will be notified accordingly. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, now we will move on to public comment. At this time, anyone who wishes to speak to the council on any particular items will fill out a speaker slip, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Our timer isn't working, so I will use my phone, so you will hear the timer go off when your time is finished. All right, City Clerk, you have e-comments?
I do. Excuse me, Mayor. I have a couple of electronic submittals. However, I see that some of these individuals are also present online, so rather than me reading the items into the record, if the mayor wants to go with that route to have them just speak, we can do that.
We can ask them if they like more.
Very good. We'll start with Ms. Calderon. Ms. Calderon, I see you are on the teleconference. Before she, let's give her a moment. Let's continue with Ms. Mahunga.
City Clerk, let's just read the public comments. That's fine.
Fine. Ms. Calderon writes, she's addressing issues with Hemet Global Medical Center that directly impact the Hemet community. Ms. Mahunga also speaks with respect to the same item, working conditions in Hemet Global Medical Center, in addition to Ms. Escamilla. I will be discussing urgent matters regarding the hospital, in addition to Ms. Jeannie Packham, who also writes with issues pertaining to nursing concerns. Those are all the 4 electronic submittals, and I see them online as well. So,
okay, great. And then do we have anyone here via teleconference that would like to speak?
the same folks that are just articulated, Mayor, are online as well.
They're not responding? If
They're not responding, so.
Is there anyone on the teleconference line that would like to speak? Okay, seeing that we have none, we will go on to public comment from people in the audience here.
Mayor, point of order, let me travel. Is there anyone on the teleconference line that wishes to address the City Council? Okay.
All right, I have one request to speak form at this time from Matt Thornton. Mr. Thornton, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Matt Thornton. I'm with So's Cheesy Food Truck. I know some of you I've met before. Some of you I've had personal conversations with. I am here again asking about permitting in the city of Hemet. I am a locally owned and operated food truck. I am permitted in Riverside County with the health department, and I have a license to sell in the county of Riverside. I'm looking for a license to sell or a permit to sell in the city of Hemet. I also have recently been asked to, I've done work recently in Marietta, I've done work recently in Menifee, I've done work recently in Palm Springs, and I've been asked to come out to Indio, and I'm wondering, why is it every city that surrounds us is asking me to come work there, but the city that I live in and work in and love is putting up a roadblock with me. I do the farmer's market every Saturday. If you haven't come to the farmer's market at Saturday, you got to come down, check us out. Have a grilled cheese, very good. But I'm looking to expand my days to not have just one day in our valley, but to have a minimum of 4 days. I'd like to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I understand the parameters. I won't park on the street. I'll park on a, no public parking. I'll park in private parking lots where I have authorization from the owner to do so. I have several places in the city that have asked me to come and park there, and I've told them all no, I'm not going to do anything against what the city's asking me to do until I get the okay from the city to do so. So please, put your heads together. Let's figure out how to do this. They have, in the last year, just so you know, there are surrounding cities that used to be so far behind us. I've been talking with people in Coachella and in Indio lately, and I know Coachella became a great place because of the Coachella Festival, but there's a place out there in Coachella called CV Food Truck Park that is opened up, and they're doing every weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, food truck park, where they have live music, they have a beer garden, they have multiple food trucks, and they're asking me to come out there, and they're charging every food truck to park there, and they're asking me to come out there, and they've offered me a spot for free. Please come to our city. I'm trying to do this in this city, not that city, so please figure out what we need to do. Let me know so that I'll do it. I want to get opened up in this city, so I'm just trying to make grilled cheese for you. Feed people and make people happy. Grilled cheese just makes things better.
Yes.
So,
Awesome. Thank you. We will look into that.
okay, thank you very much.
Okay, next we have Pat Gregory.
Good evening. I'm not sure if this is the right time because I wanted to speak on 21D.
That's okay. You can go now. I think we're doing them all right now.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I would like to comment on the proposal that will change the policy for the management of the city's investment funds. This is for 21D on the agenda. Good evening, Council. I think this proposal is long overdue. It's time that Hemet hires a professional investment firm to make the most productive use of the city's funds. I've reviewed the city treasury reports for the past year, and I've noticed a few problems. I was informed that there's no investment reports for the months of November and December, and I know it was an election year, but there's simply no reason to ignore these reports. What happened to Hemet's investments during that period? Well, during November and December, 5 investments matured, and Hemet lost over $14,000 in interest earnings had the investments been properly managed. Note, when you read the Treasurer's report for January, it states that Hemet lost $80,000 during November and December, but that's not correct. The $80,000 is the potential annual loss, not the loss for the 2-month period. So why am I nitpicking? Well, because with $100 million at stake, small errors can result in big losses. Another example, the interest earned in January 2021 was less than the average interest earned over the preceding 9-month reported periods. I feel that it is most important with such a large sum of money that there be a check and balance system put in place. Allow a professional firm to make the actual investment transactions and allow the city treasurer to monitor those decisions and report back to the city and the citizens. There's just too much money to be monitored by a single person, as has been Hemet's history. It's time for a professional approach to Hemet's investment policy. Thank you.
Next we have Christian Tikas. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, City Council. I'm here on behalf of a lot of your residents of Hemet that are kind of tired of just the condition of what they're seeing as they drive down the streets, down alleyways and things like that. And a group of us started back in last month, February, just a citywide cleanup project that we're doing every Saturday morning from 9 to 12 on a constant basis to just rid the city of the trash, rid the city of the homelessness, and rid the city of just people that are just lost. And one of the things that I can say within the last 30 days, we've taken 6 truckloads of trash to the dump. We've probably accumulated over 250 trash bags of trash with those dump runs. We've taken 2 homeless guys off the streets, and we've helped one mother who was living in a hotel with her 2 children put into some transitional homes. So the thing that I'm really just coming out here is just to get more assistance from the city as far as resources, whether it is helping with the trash, whether helping with places to either take the trash, store the trash, or get rid of the trash, whatever it is. And also just really looking to try to formulate a plan to help people that are dealing with some of their mental health issues, homelessness issues, and just help a lot of the people that seem, when we talk to them, hopeless. And one of the things that just drives us, for me specifically, I don't even live in Hemet. My kids go to school at one of the private schools here. My parents still live in town. I grew up and graduated from here. But I still have my heart here every time I drive here constantly that something needs to be done. I sell homes for a living. I lease out properties. And Hemet's gotten this bad stigmatism that really we need to link arms and to kind of change that stereotype that Hemet is a trashy city. And I don't believe it was that way even when I grew up here. And I still don't believe that to this case. So one of the things that I really, I'm happy that I'm getting some of the city council support because they've showed up on Saturdays. But I realize that it is a cumulative effort for all of us to link arms, not only city council government, but churches, small businesses, and just to find, a way or at least a direction for your guys' task force to help pursue some of these things and solve some of the issues that we're dealing with out in the streets, because it's pretty bad. And, there's only so much a bunch of volunteers can handle being there on Saturdays repetitively, and right now it's without an end date that we'll continue doing it just because there's a lot of people that love and care for this city and want to continue basically restoring the city back to where it was. So I just thank you and for the time, and hopefully we can talk more about some help.
Thank you, and we appreciate all that you are doing. I do want to address one thing with you. A week ago Friday, we completed our council priority sessions, and for everyone to know, number 1 on the council's list was blight, cleanliness, and public dedication to cleaning this up. So that's a good news for you, because as a council, we have to have a plan. And that being number 1 on the list, you're not the only organization who's requesting receptacles. And I know it costs a lot of money, so we look forward to seeing our city manager's plans for we have to be creative right now, but we will. And so that's our promise. Cool. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay, next we will go on to presentations. First, we have a proclamation because March is American Red Cross Heart Month. And I believe we have Executive Director Lois Dickham. Is she on the line? on our Zoom call?
She is on Zoom, Madam Mayor. Ms. Beckman, are you with us?
I'm here.
Thank you.
Hi there, welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
Tonight we are going to present you with this proclamation, and this is for all the service. I know that you serve during many emergencies you have served in our city, and the American Red Cross has been here for us this month. We honor you, and I'm not going to read through the entire proclamation here, but all of your volunteers. We have met some wonderful people serving in our community, and some are local, some are regional, and some come from very far away, and it always surprises us. But thank them all for your dedication and service. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that recognition.
Thank you, and we will get this to you. Thank you. All right, and then another proclamation that we have tonight is recognizing the 115th anniversary of the Hemet Women's Club. The Hemet Women's Club has been in our valley since March 1906. They have taken care of so many things. Did you know that the playground at Weston Park was put in by the Hemet Women's Club? And it has impacted our valley. If anyone else wants to say anything, I know, Linda, you've spoken with those ladies often also. Yes, the Hemet Women's Club back in, did you say 1906? Started the first reading room in Hemet, which was to then become the Hemet Library. So the Women's Club has been around for a long time. They have done absolutely awesome, exemplary things. And I will say it, the women of this town keep this town going. That's excellent. And I know it's International Women's Day. Right, yesterday. I will also note that my mother was part of the Women's Club, the Hemet Women's Club, when I was younger, and I remember meeting ladies and going to different functions. So it's neat to see that they are still working in our valley. So thank you very much. All right, next we have some more community appreciation certificates by Councilmember Lilienthal. He is going to recognize some work that's been done in our valley.
Good evening, everyone. So I want to start off with some individuals, and then I'll move to some organizations. So first I want to recognize Coach DJ for his inspiring work that he does with the youth. He works over at Talkwoods High. And we appreciate everything you've done for our youth, because with good leadership, it's very important for our youth to have really good leadership. So I just wanted to recognize the work that you've done with our youth, and we want you to continue to do that. And we appreciate what you do in the city of Hemet. Another inspiration for the youth would be Billy Aceto. He is I don't know how long he's been here, but I know he's been a big inspiration for the city of Hemet when it comes to youth. He was working with youth with baseball. So it's another baseball coach right here. Again, when we're talking about the youth, this is another gentleman that the youth can go to and pour their heart out to, whatever they're going through. And so not only is this individual coaching, but also he's another individual that kids have an outlet to kind of express their needs and things like that. So we really appreciate the work that you're doing. This one's for Steve Alonzo, but I don't think he's here. James LaChapa. This gentleman has been going around the city of Hemet and cleaning up graffiti on his own dime, right? And so we appreciate the work that you're doing when it comes to blight, and we want you to continue that work. Wesley Franklin. Everybody knows what he does around the city, right? We appreciate all that you do here, and we just want to honor you and give you some recognition to give you some more inspiration to keep doing as well what you're doing. And we thank you. Okay, so I first want to recognize this group. We heard them speak a little earlier. I am missing a certificate, so we're going to have to get that mailed out, but it's All Good Things Ministry. I apologize for that, but this gentleman has been, like how you said, he's been going around the city and they've been cleaning up and hitting different areas. And we just want you to know that we're doing everything we can to get behind you and what that looks like. It is going to be like a slow-moving thing, but we have to get all our ducks in a row to make sure that happens correctly. But we do want to let you know that we appreciate what you're doing in the city. We have next Voices for Children. On behalf of the City of Hemet, we appreciate what this organization has done. When we were talking about advocacy for children, right? But it's like we really appreciate, because without that voice, I mean, there's a demographic of individuals who would fall in the cracks when it comes to adoption and foster care and all of those things. But we really appreciate what you do.
Thank you very much.
Another agency is California Family Life Center. This is another agency that works with foster kids and adoption. Again, another demographic taken care of by this agency. We appreciate everything that you guys have done. You can go, it's like, I think you guys are located by the courthouse, right?
That's correct.
I would encourage you guys to go over there and check that place out, because they do life skills. They teach the youth, different things that come with life skills, and they help them, inspire them to know that people love them, people care about them, people are thinking about them as they go through that journey of, foster care, adoption. And this is also a company that, it's not just like CPS calls it, if the parents die, and the kids lose the parents. This is a entity that helps, find new family members and things like that. So we really appreciate you guys' work.
Thank you.
Salvation Army. We also have Exceed. Give me a second, guys.
When we get back to to a half arm or whatever it's going to look like. Yeah, absolutely.
Sandy, can you give everyone a synopsis of what you guys do?
Sure. Exceed has been in Hemet for the past 40 years. We're actually celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. 1981, they opened a center for adults with disabilities because there were no services in this area for folks. And so today, at our site on North Santa Fe Street, just down from the cemetery, we serve about 150 clients each year, teaching them life skills, behavior skills, helping them find jobs, helping them to reach their dreams. We all have dreams, and folks with disabilities are no different. So that's what we do.
I've seen this personally with adults with Down syndrome who cannot, navigate life on their own. But they're at a high functioning level where they take the bus and stuff like that, but they go different places and different employers employ these people so that they can feel like they're a part of the community. So that's why I wanted to recognize Exceed. Next we have Casa. No Casa.
Is she on our Zoom call? She may be on our Zoom.
Yes.
Go ahead. Right behind you. Behind you. Oh,
So Casa is an agency that they focus on sexual assault, so human trafficking and things like that. And so whenever an individual has been through a traumatic event like that, you have this entity that will come in and kind of rehabilitate them and connect them with the different programs that we have here as far as rehabilitation is concerned, and making sure that those people aren't ending back up on the street. So we really appreciate the work that this agency is doing when it comes to sexual assault.
Thank you very much.
Next we have Caravan Transit. This is awesome because we have a lot of people here who don't have transportation, and so this is an entity that goes around and makes sure that the people that is it adults? Yeah. So our veterans, seniors, the disabled can get to their doctor's appointments. Can get to different places like, that we take for granted because we can just get in the car and go, but they don't have that luxury. So this is an entity that steps in and make sure that happens. So we really appreciate that work and hope that you guys continue. Another organization that works closely with the youth is My City Youth Center. They have a skate park. They have programs like you guys teach music. They have all kinds of programs that these kids can come to their facility and get involved in. And the Hemet Teen Mom program. I like that because the teen moms can. I went back. I want to say like the middle of maybe it had to be before the pandemic. But I visited that place, and there's like diapers, there's baby clothes, there's all kinds of items that have been donated for these teen moms who can through it's some kind of dollar system they have. Mommy bucks. And so they earn these mommy bucks through different, I guess, some of the things that they do as accolades. And so in exchange for them doing what they have to do to earn those bucks, they can use those bucks to pay for some of the items that if they can't afford it, that their kids need, diapers, clothes, and things like that.
36,000 diapers a year out.
36,000 diapers a year out. We appreciate this. Valley Community Pantry. Tell everybody what you do.
Not much. Well, we've been serving the Valley for 56 years, so that's a blessing in itself. We just do the best we can every day. We're primarily a food agency. We supply food to a lot of people. We do a lot of rent, utility assistance, but we just try to bless people. We try to give them hope. We just try to let them know there's things out there, even though things are tough for them, just what they deal with. We just try to put a smile on their face. We're not perfect. We do the best we can. Just a real quick note, 2019, we almost shut our doors down. Finances were really tough. Every year they've been tough, and I just sit there and say, we can't just deal with this no more. We had a church step up, donate $22,000. We had an estate, a gentleman passed away, we didn't know, left $29,000. So thank God we kept our doors open. And as bad as COVID it is and how it's hit a lot of people, the pantry has never been more blessed in this last year because of COVID, the people stepping up. Real quick, we had a Sierra Dawn home donated to us. We just sold for $118,000. A lady donated $50,000. The grants that we got, all this years of suffering and headaches and crying and getting mad, this year has just made it all worthwhile. So we thank you.
Valley Restart. We are talking about a place that provides, housing assistance for the homeless, women with children, some men, and this is a place where a homeless shelter that people can go to who are down and out on their luck, and they get them with the right resources and connect them so that they're not there forever. We really appreciate the work that you do in the city, and we just want you to continue to notice that we notice you.
It is very refreshing to have City Council behind us and continually feeling their support, feeling the community's support. And very similar to Jim, has to do with this year the community has blessed us in so many significant ways. And I just want to say that we also have a bus ticket home program in order to get people who are displaced and homeless back to where it is that they belong. We also do some rental assistance. We have an outreach program to deal with the people who are on the street. But one of the things that we know is that you can't put anything into a hand that's closed. And so by creating a relationship and creating the opportunity to hope again, we can move people out off the street and into housing, and that has happened significantly this year.
Family Service Association. Can't get to my notes. Share with these folks what you guys do.
Oh, so we do meals for our seniors. We do Riverside County, we do San Bernardino County, and we're looking at possibly 1 million meals for the fiscal year. After COVID, our congregate numbers almost doubled of the seniors that needed help, that they could come to our center and get the grab and goes. So it's been an honor to be able to serve our seniors that have met. Absolutely.
Can she take it?
Yeah. Let me take, you have this.
If anyone in the audience knows a tax preparer that can work with seniors, can you kindly email me?
Smile. We are, you just can't see it. Thank you very much.
I would like to ask the Chamber of Commerce. This is an association, maybe that's the wrong word, but, you gather all the businesses together under one roof, and if everything's organized in such a way, it's like we can uniform everything around the city. And so with getting in touch, if you're a business owner, or if you know a business owner with the Chamber of Commerce, you get the networks, you get all kinds of goodies when it comes to networking. And so if you're a business owner and you know someone who needs something and you reach out to the chamber, this is the entity that will point you in the right direction on who can make that happen. Does that make sense? We appreciate what you guys do. We want to work with you more in the future as far as our businesses are concerned. Do you think they did Malcolm in the Middle on purpose? Last but not least, we want to recognize the American Legion for what they do for the city.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now I know why you were asking the questions. Anyways, these American Legion's there for our veterans. We're also there for the community. We help whoever we can. We've worked along with just about everyone here. My city youth, Jim at the Pantry, the Chamber, and we really appreciate all of you. And our veterans, we've housed many of our veterans that were on the streets, helped them out with food, helped them with finances. Jim's even helped us with our veterans on paying their electrical bills, and we're really blessed that we have all the support we have in this city. So thank you.
And that concludes the presentations. I hope this is an enjoyment for you guys. I like to spread good news, and so in our current state right now, COVID and a lot of bad news circulating, I just want to bring light to there is light happening in the city, and to point that out. Just because I didn't have everyone or recognize doesn't mean I'm not going to recognize them. So you will hear about more recognition in the future.
And did Nancy get in from the women's club? She was trying to find us. Okay, I was just checking. Okay, we do not have, before we proceed, can we pass our tally sheets back down to the city clerk? Yeah, the city, I'll ask the city clerk to email you copies of your sheet. Thank you. All right, there is no item 18 public hearing, so we'll move on to receive and file. I believe there's no action here unless does anyone have any comments or any items to discuss on the receive and file? Okay, next we will...
Madam Mayor, if I may, point of order. The city manager brought to my attention that there was a couple of mistakes with respect to the minutes of February 23rd. So with that said, the minutes can be approved as presented. The corrections have been made, and then a copy will be distributed accordingly.
All right, item number 20. All these items on the consent calendar are items that are acted on by single action of the City Council unless otherwise pulled. So is there anyone that would like to pull an item on the consent calendar? 20C. 20C. Okay, anyone else? All right, do we have a motion to approve item 20A and 20B?
So moved.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nails?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
That motion carries 5-0, Mayor. Thank you.
Great. And then we have item 20C. And I believe we have them on Zoom. Before there's a presentation, do you have a specific question that you want to ask? Yes. Yes. I'd like to talk about the reasoning behind Warren Road.
Thank you, Council Member. We have HP and we have Steve Larissa, our city engineer, that has prepared a presentation for this item in particular. So if we've got HP that can cue that up.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Council.
Before you start, HP, did you want to ask your question first? Or my specific questions, HP, are on the reasoning behind taking it from a 6-lane divided to 4-lane non-divided and changing from a regional arterial to basically to a local. And what type of traffic counts did we take into consideration to reduce the size of that roadway?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, that was a good one, too. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. The rationale behind changing the size of the roadway in the general plan from 6-lane divided to 4-lane non-divided, and if we did any traffic studies, and did future traffic studies have any impact on why the road was basically downgraded from a major arterial to a local arterial?
Sure, let me put this presentation up here and we'll kind of go through that. Can you see the slideshow?
Yes.
Yes? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to assume that you can hear me, and I'll go with the presentation. So tonight before you is Rancho Diamante, and I'll kind of quickly go through the applicant. The applicant is Strata Equity Group. It's Pangea Land Consultants as representative. The property owner is Rancho Diamante Investment Group. The project is located south of Stetson Avenue, west of Seven Hills Development and Warren Road, and east of San Diego Aqueduct. This is the project location. What we're asking to change is the extension of Mustang Way as described below, and I'll go into that in a little detail, and change the classification of Warren Road from a 6-lane arterial to a 4-lane secondary arterial. So this is the Page Ranch specific plan, how it was laid out. This is Warren Road right here. And this is the newly proposed. As you can see, there's some green areas, and I'll go into a little more details of that in my presentation. So originally it was set for a 6-lane arterial according to our general plan. However, we're asking for a reduction in that number of lanes to 4 lanes as described below. And the reason for that is the original general plan circulation was identified in 1992 as a secondary highway for that section of the road, Warren Road. In 2012, that section was upgraded to an arterial 6B, which means a 6-lane highway. However, if we go back to the development that occurred prior to the general plan update of 2012, the Solera development on Warren Road on the east side had a curvature approved for Warren Road under 31807 and 31808. And the reason for that was because of the vernal pool were there, and we had to protect those areas. And that was approved by council action. This is the justification at the time. The Warren Road is a straight north and south road. Number two, I started to talk about the vernal pool on the north section, but there's also a vernal pool on the southern section. So as it progressed, we are at number 4 at this point, where the curvature on the north side protects the vernal pool on the west side of the street, and curvature on the south protects the vernal pool on the south side of the street. And as you can see, there's a number 5 as well, and that, what happens in the future is a full curvature that comes and meets the new Stetson alignment at a 90-degree angle. So if you go back to 4 graphics, there's a section here that's not currently being used. And I'll go into the graphics. So this is a current roadway as it sits today. There's the vernal pool, and here's the vernal pool here. The full improvement of Warren Road on the east side has already been made. So this is a section that is not being utilized, but in the future will connect to the future extension of Stetson, intersect at a 90-degree angle. And the tentative track 36841 also shows the vernal pool sections, which will align and they will extend out to 4 lanes. And the reason why it's a 4-lane is also the track 35393, which is across the street from the proposed track, was approved with 88-foot cross section of Warren Road. So what this did was it developed all the tracks on the east side of Warren Road with an 88-foot 4-lane highway designation. And these 2 tracks were approved prior to the new 2012 general plan update. So in this particular case, there's no opportunity to expand to a 6-foot lane due to the existing vernal pool sections. So we can't encroach into those sections on the west side of the Warren Road. On the southern curvature you can, but as you go north, you won't be able to extend into the existing vernal pool. And you won't be able to extend to the east because it's already developed with curb gutter and sidewalk, landscaping, and existing homes. So that's the reason why we're requesting for reduction back to 4-lane highway, just in the section from the new Stetson down to Dominigoni. So it keeps it consistent for that section as a 4-lane. And also, the extension of Mustang Way here will also alleviate some of the traffic that will be funneled up to Warren Road. So you have this connection in the future, as well as this connection in the future, the Street C for the southern development. So there are multiple different components that will alleviate traffic as it goes forward. And Steve Lariso, city engineer, is also on the line, as well as David Leonard, consultant, is also on the line to answer any questions you may have.
I have a few questions on that too. Okay, so my question for you is, if I'm understanding this correctly, you put in a home development that squished the road that was supposed to be 6 feet or 6 lanes into 4 lanes. So I continue to argue that we literally rely on staff, and I understand it wasn't you that in this position, but we rely on staff to come with recommendations. We have a major problem in this town getting in and out of town. We have constant congestion, and what if we say no to this tonight? Then what are you going to do?
Well, it's physically difficult to get into a 6-lane configuration at this point due to the existing vernal pool locations.
But
so
if the council approved a 6-lane and now staff is coming back and saying, oh, sorry, I'm just not understanding how this is working and why we're even voting on it at all.
No, council did not approve for a 6-lane. That was a general plan designation that happened after the tracks were already approved for the Solar project.
HB, I'm going to have to interrupt you. I apologize, but the council approves the general plan, and it is in the general plan. So we cannot keep moving forward in our city if we are going to keep having these kinds of hiccups. And traffic is a major problem. I'm not comfortable approving this tonight. Please. HP, this is Linda. Did we at any point talk to RCA about any mitigating matters to straighten that road back out again so that there is room?
Well, at this point, because of the existing vernal pools, there's no way of straightening that road back out again.
But RCA is starting a mitigation program for these types of developments. And I was just wondering, did we check with them before we brought this general plan amendment forward? And part of my reasoning on this is that I did listen to the Planning Commission meeting when this came before them. There was a lot of conversation about the roadways internally to this development and how they're built to take the traffic from inside the development up to Stetson and then diffuse it wherever it's supposed to go. But were there any studies done about the traffic that comes from the south of us? Because Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, San Diego, they all know the shortcut through our valley, and they take Winchester Road, come over on Don Magoni, shoot up Warren Road or Sanderson to go up to Interstate 10. So I'm just wondering if were any of these issues brought up and discussed, because we're going to have gridlock out on Warren Road.
Correct, and I can have Steve Loisa speak a little more to the new alignment for Highway 79 that would alleviate some of those traffic concerns that you have. Now,
you and I both know that we will never live long enough to see the realignment of Highway 79. And that's my personal opinion, I'm sorry. And listen, before we go too far on this, I think that maybe we should just pull this item and ask for staff to go back and bring back. I need to check with, on the vernal pools. I think that we need to do it. I hate doing this, but I mean, there's so many unanswered questions in making a general plan amendment of this degree on that major highway with impacts for traffic that we probably can't handle. And putting it on the consent calendar also. And I like the fact that development is coming. I mean, I'm more than happy with the development out there with the houses and the commercial, but our infrastructure is primary, important. And developers do come in, take the most economical way possible to build their development, and then they fly off to another city and do the same thing, and we're stuck with having to improve the infrastructure.
Okay, I do have Mayor, a couple questions. I believe this is the second reading.
It is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it goes on consent when it's the second reading. The second item, just for the sake of creating the level playing field in terms of some of the background. HP, when was the general plan adopted?
This portion of it, I believe, was in 2012. I worked on one of the 2009 with the public committee.
You hear me?
What's the best way to do this legally, since it is the second reading? I would really prefer to have some questions answered and that the public know what those answers are.
Certainly. So as you know, we did hold a public hearing at the last City Council meeting where a number of entitlements were contingently approved along with the General Plan Amendment. The General Plan Amendment has to pass for all those entitlements to go forward. So if the City Council declines to approve the General Plan Amendment on second reading, and perhaps wants to either give us direction to continue the second reading, or to take other actions such as sending it back to Planning Commission, we can certainly talk about that process. If the council really wants staff to be able to dig deep with the developer and with planning commission on the traffic issues, that may be the most appropriate step.
So if I could, Mayor, I just wanted to reemphasize the fact that this general plan was adopted before HP came on board.
Oh, absolutely agree.
The fact of the matter is HP isn't the one that essentially brought this forward, and it was, his problem. Oftentimes we get problems that weren't created by any of us, and the council's really put in the position of having to grapple with those issues that have been put forward years ago. And so our staff, I can't tell you how often this comes up, where our team is left to try and pick up the pieces and make something work. So I just wanted to make sure that HP knew that, the rest of the team knew that we've got a brand new team here. A lot of the issues that we come up with, we're trying to get the pieces back together and bring projects to completion, while also being mindful of the issues that were raised tonight by the council, including traffic issues.
We absolutely understand that. Yes. Yeah. And regardless, we can't put any money into this and create another mess.
So, and I just wanted to say, I misspoke. I refer to this as a general plan amendment. You have an ordinance for a specific plan amendment in front of you, the second reading of that.
But it is a general plan amendment because Warren Road is part of the general plan amendment.
Absolutely.
Right. The rest of the development is specific plan.
Understood. I just want to make sure I include the specific plan in there as well. I'll be very specific. So I just want to let you know, this is not the first time a situation like this has happened in city councils that I've advised, where something comes forward, gets approved, and then perhaps a council member was missing, or
and I realize that
they bring their unique perspective, and it causes people to reevaluate it. That's why you have a second reading on ordinances. So if it is the pleasure of the council, you can take a couple of different actions if you're asking what your legal options are. Obviously, you can approve the action in front of you. That would allow the project to proceed. You could decline to take action. You could table this to a date certain, give a month for staff to work with the developer and figure out what to do in the meantime. You could vote no and not approve the specific plan amendment. Or something that I have seen some city councils do is say, look, we need just a couple of changes to this, and we want it to be brought back, but we want that real deep dive and detail to be done by the Planning Commission, and they remand this back to the Planning Commission for them to set a public hearing, address the issues identified by the council, and then have it come back. That's one thing I've seen work very well.
I think that last option is the most viable one, is to allow staff some time to take it back to Planning Commission and make sure that these issues are raised, because I didn't hear them being raised at the Planning Commission meeting, and although Council Member Brown raised them at the February 23rd meeting, I felt he didn't get a satisfactory answer, and if I had been here, I would have been doing exactly what I'm doing now. So, and the more we go through this stuff, we sit and we look through and we get our answers, but after you leave and you look into it more and more, and now our second reading, I believe that's why we have our second reading, just like some answers on some of it and some options, and whether or not we actually looked at RCA, because this new mitigation bank is something that I think is going to be beneficial to a lot of cities and a lot of developers. And that curve that's in there now did not get approved by City Council.
And so, Councilmember, I would just recommend that, if you did make a motion to remand this back to the Planning Commission, that if there are issues that you want them to address, that it be specific in the motion. So number of lanes, checking with RCA regarding the mitigation and the effect on the vernal pools. Those are the two I heard, but if there's something else, I would just recommend you be very specific in the motion.
Okay. So I will make a motion that we remand this back to Planning Commission and have staff expressly look into the changes to Warren Road, the vernal pools, and possible mitigation with RCA. And I think that's the only issues I have: the size of Warren Road and the mitigation on RCA. All right, we have a motion. I'm sorry. Traffic study on future expectation of traffic coming from the south on Dominagoni Parkway and then going on Warren Road. And as an aside, we can all see what happened to Winchester Road when it went from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. The capacity increased, but the occupancy probably tripled or went up 6-fold. So it'll happen here too.
May I add something to your amendment? That we also look at not only the proposed development, but the existing development, Del Webb, that currently has no left turn pockets for people wanting to come off of Warren Road to go into that community. So incorporate into the reexamination of Warren Road to include safe left turn pockets so that people can safely make turns off of Warren Road into either the proposed development or the existing one. Is that okay?
It's okay with me. Add that to the, yes, to the motion, please.
So Mayor, I do have,
I just received a message from HP saying that the applicant is on the line and would like to speak.
Excellent. Go ahead.
I believe he's on the phone line, HP, is that correct? Where is he?
I believe he's on the phone line.
Mayor, give us a few minutes while we set up the comment and get this. We've already.
That's fine.
Welcome to Open Voice Audio Services. Please enter your conference room number followed by the pound or hash sign. Incorrect conference room number. You entered no digit. Please re-enter the conference. Incorrect conference room number. You entered no. Conference room number accepted. If you are the organizer, press the star key now. Otherwise, please hold. Please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash sign. For a minute.
Is there someone online that wishes to address the City Council at this time? I don't hear anybody on the line.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead,
Hello.
you're there. You can go ahead and speak.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, good evening. My name is Eric Flodine. I'm the representative with Strata Equity Group, the applicant, also the landowner, Rancho Diamante Investments, the owner of the tract 36841. as the action of the specific plan amendment, etc., in the second reading tonight. I've been listening to the council's discussion as this consent item was pulled. I have been listening to the discussion and understand some of the concerns related to Warren Road and the change from 6 lanes to 4 lanes. And I wanted to add a little bit of color to the discussion, as we've owned this property since 2003, I believe. So, if I may, and assuming you can still hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. Thank you. I wish I could be there. I really wish I'd rather be there with you in person, believe me. Warren Road, I want to be very specific about something. Warren Road, there absolutely was a traffic impact analysis prepared for this project. There were actually two. There were 2 separate traffic impact analyses prepared, completed by traffic engineer Urban Crossroads for this project. And there were two separate traffic impact analysis. One prepared for the entire specific plan itself to look at the traffic generation, the trips, etc. Another one was specific to the reclassification of Warren Road from 6 lanes to 4. It absolutely did include this reclassification analysis, which was completed in 2015. Absolutely did include the area around the project and the traffic trips from north and south, as was questioned by one of the council members this evening. The addition of Mustang Road or Mustang Way as an extension through the project, the addition of new steps in, all of those ingredients are in this analysis. So I wanted to just be very clear about this. We've talked about this project with city staff for a number of years. I understand the existing city staff may not have been in that seat, but your prior Community Development Director, Deanna Eliano, we had many conversations with her and other supporting staff talking about the project. HP has already done a very thorough job discussing the impact of the vernal pools in the area and the fact that the Solera community to the east was built with that 4-lane improvement. So primarily I wanted to say that this is not something that we came in lightly. We've basically been looking at this alignment for, I would say, over 7 years. We've been looking at the alignment of Warren Road and its 6 to 4 lane. So it's not something that it is something that we have studied extensively.
Thank you. A question I have for you is, did you by any chance contact RCA about this?
The contact with RCA was done during the Solera project. You're mentioning about a mitigation bank. I believe you're talking about the River Park Mitigation Bank. So there's mitigation banks available, but the vernal pools themselves were really deemed, I'm not sure, of high value. They were deemed important by RCA, who basically represents the wildlife agencies, as you know. So the wildlife agencies have looked at this project. I will tell you that they have looked at 36841, this specific project, because there was an MSHCP document that was prepared for this project as Warren intersect with New Stetson, and as it crosses the railroad track on the north side of New Stetson. RCA has looked at that intersection, so I do know that they have been involved in conversations related to the future Warren Road improvements.
And what was the date of that? Do you remember approximately?
Well, that's active. That's current. That's current. There's an MSHCP minor amendment that's happening now. So in 2020, the application for the MSHCP minor amendment was submitted, and that was looking really at the intersection of Warren and New Stetson and then the train track, and so that's very fresh.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for him? So do you know if that minor amendment has been brought to the Board of Directors of the RCA?
I do not. Perhaps Mr. Leonard, the city's consultant, who has also been involved in the MSHCP processing, maybe he knows this, the status of it. It should be approved any now.
I'm just saying that because I also sit on that board and I haven't seen it yet. But
yes.
That would be more or less for the right-of-way for the railroad track that RCTC owns, correct? And any expansion of the railroad?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's for Warren Road itself, not for the RCTC train track.
But if it's at the intersection of Warren Road and the railroad track, is there a new street going in there? I mean, I don't get that connection that if it's not an RCA thing.
Right. The alignment, the curve, it's basically as the Warren Road curved as a result of those vernal pools, as that then crosses the road, as that then crosses New Stetson and the train tracks, that creates another curve in the future. And so that was the focus of that minor amendment, was really focused there. And I guess what I was mentioning was that with all the documentation that was prepared by the biologist as in support of the MSHCP document, the stretch of Warren north and south of that intersection is also included in that documentation. Not that there was specific action to be taken on, Well and Wellston.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Any more questions? I'd still like, okay, thank you very much for answering those, to at least see the reports, go over the reports. And, we have a motion on the table, so do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Russ Brown.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nails?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
That motion carries 5-0.
And if I can just say, I really appreciate staff's effort and the developer's effort. But this is something that is very major to our city and to the development of the west side. And I would like all of us to be very, very sure of the yes vote, and I'll say when it comes. But it's too important to not have some of these answers at this point. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, before we go on to item 21, we need to go back to 19A and B, the approval of the minutes. They were in the receive and file category, and we need to just have a motion if anyone has no objection to them. I'll move approval of the receive and files. And actually, we're going to, okay. It'll be the minutes, so it's 19A and 19B. 19A and 19B? Yes, please.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nails?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
That's motion on items 19A and 19B respectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have item 21A. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. We're nearing, I think, the year anniversary of that emergency declaration that was adopted back in 2020. So obviously, there have been a couple new locations in terms of vaccination locations. We did have one at Simpson Center last week, and I've gotten word that there's another one going on at, the place escapes me, but a senior community in our town that is allowing seniors 65 and older to get vaccinated. We continue to monitor and provide updates on the city's website and continue to monitor and see the trends that are continuing in a downward motion. So that concludes the report. I should add, too, that we are developing plans to do a reopening of City Hall, city facilities, to allow the public to ease back into access with our personnel. So we are working on that now, Mayor.
Do we have any questions, ma'am? Okay, that is a receive and file, so we will move on to item, let me see here, 21B. Have the city engineer
Yes,
for this?
thank
Okay.
you, Mayor. We should have Steve Lariso on the line, the Zoom call, and he will be providing, the staff report on this specific item. So Steve, you there?
I am. It's a bit hard to hear, but I'm going to go through and hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm just going to share my screen here to make sure that everybody can see this slide show. Okay, hopefully you can see the slideshow at least. So tonight's discussion is regarding a project that was, or that is proposed by Riverside County Transportation Department. And what we're trying to do tonight is we're requesting City Council direction on how we should go about this project, whether or not we should partner with the county on this or keep with our current plan of doing other projects. This San Jacinto Street it's a shared boundary between the city of Hemet and the unincorporated county. RCTD came to us a month or so ago about the potential of partnering with this project, and as I'll show you on the next slide, you'll see some more information about the limits and where this is taking place. As you can see, San Jacinto Street, and also north is to the right on this image here, but San Jacinto Street starts up here at Florida and goes to the south all the way down to Thornton Avenue is where the project is proposed by RCTD to be the extended limits. As you can see within the color coding here, you can see the different hatch patterns, the yellow being the city project or the proposed city project by Riverside County, and the blue being the county performed project. So just wanted to give you a couple bits of information about this. There are portions of the street, as you can see, that are completely within the city of Hemet boundary, which is identified by the yellow portion closer to Florida, as well about midpoint through around Leslie Drive. Throughout this 1.5 mile stretch that's basically from Florida to Thornton, there is various repairs. And what I mean by various, there is some sidewalk and stuff that I'll talk about in a second, but it's primarily pavement and some deep dig outs of the asphalt. There is one location that has localized ponding, and that would be addressed through this project as well by the county. Also, there's upgrading of ADA curb ramps throughout that's required by the funding, and there's 2 missing sections of sidewalk that would be added. Basically brings it to about 200 linear feet. So just some other facts on the project here. So RCTD had provided an estimate of the project of about $970,000, and that covers the city's portion of design, construction management, inspection, and the actual construction of the project. It also includes the portions of sidewalk, which is they're estimating about $75,000. So all that's factored into there. As you can imagine, we have many projects throughout the city that continually we're working through on the CIP, as well as developing new projects. We didn't have this street on our radar just for the sake of trying to go through the past projects that we've had on lists to try to get to. However, if it is the council's direction, funding could be reappropriated from the Measure A balance that we currently have. In order to do that, we would recommend to delay the 2020-2021 citywide pavement rehabilitation project. And that one basically covers portions of the city. There's some neighborhoods that are done, a pavement rehab. It's not a slurry seal, so it would be larger portions of the city throughout. So that's what would happen with that project if that was the choice by council. I apologize for missing the shorthand title. I forgot to put that in there. in this particular case, what we're asking for now is we're just asking for direction, whether or not we should partner with Riverside County Transportation Department to have a uniform street rehabilitation project and postpone the 2020-2021 citywide pavement, or proceed with the completion of the 2021 citywide pavement rehab project that we currently have designed. And with that, would appreciate any direction or questions you may have.
Yeah, thank you for that report, Steve. This is Russ. If the council wants to go forward with partnering with the county on this rehabilitation project, do you have any specific projects that were in the CIP, or would those still be up for review at a future discussion?
Councilmember Brown, I think I understood the question that if do we have projects that are up and coming that we may do this work on? Is that what I think I heard?
Well, you said that we might, if we redirect the funds to partner with the county on this roadway rehabilitation, that means that we would take funds away from our CIP slurry seal projects. Would that negate all of the projects or just some of them?
Oh, understood. So it's actually one project that we would delay. That citywide pavement rehab project is actually one project that involves a number of streets. Most of the time when we're going through these pavement rehab things, we're trying to encompass as many streets as possible. So by not doing the 2021 pavement rehab project, we would essentially be recommending to delay 1 year. The plans are pretty much in the final state to be able to utilize next fiscal year. We have funding available that is coming through Measure A. It's delaying it 1 year in order to partner with Riverside County Transportation.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question. I do have some comments later.
Steve, I'm basically in favor of this because having half the street done in some sections and not in the other sections it's not a good option. But in the estimate that the county gave us or gave you, does that include sidewalks on both sides of the street and ADA access to the sidewalks at the intersections?
Councilmember Krupa, yes. So what that estimate is provided for is there's missing sidewalks. As I understand, it's not sidewalk throughout the entire stretch because there is quite a bit of sidewalk there. There's missing segments that would be within our area, being the city area that is missing, and that's what would be included. The curb ramps would also be included as far as reconstruction or rehabilitation to bring it up to current ADA standards. And I say current with air quotes because that will probably change in the next year or so, as it always does. So.
And with the price tag that's associated with this, are they going to do a regrind and overlay, or because this is more than a slurry seal? Or is it?
You're absolutely correct. It is not a slurry. It is in the engineering world. It's 17/100ths of an inch. I'm sorry, of a foot that they would be grinding and placing back. But that also includes portions that require deeper digouts, which is what we would do on normal pavement rehabilitation or a slurry seal project. Sometimes there's isolated repairs that are needed that just, you can't grind it out. You can't grind a uniform grind. You're just going to still keep going down in the dirt. So that includes that portion throughout the stretch as well.
When you mentioned areas of water pooling, are there dips along San Jacinto Street that will be taken out, or will those pooling areas continue?
The dips that are currently there traveling in the east-west direction, those will remain. Those are actually designed to carry the water in the east-west direction. There is one localized section, and I can't remember the name of the street, but it's at a driveway right at a corner too, where basically it is a low point because the road is broken up, concrete driveway is broken up, and so it's basically rehabilitating the sidewalk and the driveway and a little bit of the street to keep the water flowing so we wouldn't have a ponding situation in that location.
Okay. Now, just kind of a hypothetical, if we decide we do not want to do this with the county, when they, in the section where one side of the street is county and one side is the city, what would that look like at the end of it? I mean, would the county, I know the county side will look great and it'll be smoother and without cracks and whatever, but will it be higher, lower? Will there be any type of a traffic liability? Because half of it's new and half of it's old?
I think I understood the question that what would happen if we did not partner with the county at this time in doing the work. If that is the case, essentially they would be constructing or reconstructing or rehabilitating the portions of the street within their jurisdiction. Now, when I talk about that, if you look at the image that's currently on your screen here, the portion to the very left or the very south is the blue portion, which is full width. They also have a portion that is half width, a little bit to the right of that, to the north, and then further on up to the right as well. I haven't discussed with them if they would be considering just not doing those portions where it's half the street, because their whole attempt at doing this is with the consideration that the city would partner with them on this. It could be presumptive on their part to say that, but that's what their statement was to me.
Okay, thank you. It actually makes sense that so many of our streets on the south side of Florida, part of it starts in the city and then it goes into the county and then it goes back into the city. So we've, my comment would be, how soon can you talk them into doing Girard and Yale and Columbia? And Dartmouth is a mess, and Cornell and all the rest of them. Yeah, so, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that information.
I think that this is such a major street that is used to get south of town. I mean, it's so important to have this done. I mean, I hate to put off another project, but Steve, I have a question for you. As far as when you say a year, are you meaning like until next fiscal year, like June or July 1st?
Yes, ma'am. I wouldn't have an exact date yet if we did delay it, but it would be in the next fiscal year. So essentially, as soon as the budget would be passed.
So it's really a few months.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
A few months. Yeah, perfect.
Well, what's on our budget now to work on our streets? How much do we have?
We will be able to complete all the projects except one if we do San Jacinto. So I feel like the impact is for the most people will feel the impact on San Jacinto because a lot of people drive it.
But we'll still be able to fix our streets with the remaining amount of monies that we have. Okay.
And it all depends on how much Measure A and SB1 funds that we get. And the RCTC budget actually is on the agenda for tomorrow for prelim. And we've received, let's put it this way, have not seen the decrease in revenue, Measure A revenue that was expected at the start of COVID. Okay, so, keep your fingers crossed. People keep buying. Maybe it's all with credit, but it's still buying. Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually in favor of this for several reasons. One, I think I'm certainly in agreement. It's a heavily traveled street. And one of the things, we have the benefit of looking at maps, and we have nice color coding that shows what's city and what's county. The motoring public doesn't have that.
Amen.
They just drive the street, and most people have no real clear understanding, or they probably don't even really care if it's county or if it's city. So to potentially have a situation where half the street gets done, the other half doesn't, it just makes government in general look stupid. And the motoring public would say, what the heck, why didn't they do the whole street? So for that reason and the efficiency, plus I think it just makes good sense, and I'm generally in favor of cooperative projects with jurisdictions that butt up against, just like what we're going to be doing with San Jacinto on Esplanade. It makes really good sense to do it once, get it done, and it looks good, and the motoring public will say, hey, thanks. So I'm in favor of doing this, and I know it causes us to defer a little bit on one of our projects, but we'll get to them.
Anyone else have any comments? Good.
How long will it take?
Get it done.
I got a question. Will that defer my project on State and Crow Street for my veterans?
I don't know if that is on.
Is that?
I'm sorry, Councilor, was that a question to me about the sidewalk on State Street?
Yes.
So yes, that was a question, and I did take that into account last time we spoke. We are working on potential grant application for funding for that. So I don't have an answer for you right now, but that would not be affected by doing this project.
Oh, great. I'm in.
Do you have a motion? I will move to move staff recommendation on item 21B.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Kuta?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nails?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
That motion carries 5-0.
So I do want to clarify, the recommendation was to get direction on what to do with that, and so I understand the direction to be to partner with Riverside County Transportation Department, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, that recommendation. They asked us either way.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not for Hemet to do it, it's to partner.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're moving on. We've already completed item 21C, so next we have item 21D. This is the urgency ordinance of the City Council for the City of Hemet regarding the City Treasurer. So we will go to the staff report here. This is 21D. 21D. So I am not going to go through and read to you the items that we have here. I'm sure that you guys have read this. If we could have our city attorney explain the difference between a regular ordinance and an urgency ordinance.
Certainly, Madam Mayor. You actually have both of them in front of you. An urgency ordinance is an ordinance that goes into effect immediately upon adoption by the City Council. If the Council adopts it by a 4/5 vote. So if 4 out of the 5 City Council members voted to approve the urgency ordinance that you have, it would go into effect tonight. A regular ordinance, on the other hand, must be introduced at one meeting, have a second reading at a subsequent meeting, usually the next one, and it goes into effect 30 days after that. So we actually have both here, and that's mostly just my recommendation to make sure it's very clean. They have the same exact language between them. So if you did adopt the urgency and do the first reading, you would still have the second reading, and that regular would go into effect 30 days after the second reading.
Okay, great. Okay, so we have 2 ordinances here, and these are establishing the office of City Treasurer. We also have a resolution that is delegating investment authority pursuant to the Hemet Code and the Code of the State of California. We are going to direct the city manager, this is all what the recommended actions are, direct the city manager to solicit proposals to return to the city within 60 days, a recommendation for a qualified firm to handle the investment reporting of the city, and then it would also need an ad hoc committee appointed to review the proposals. So, I know Linda has worked with investments with me since I have been elected, and starting probably 4 years ago, we were talking about the efficiency of our investments and the oversight of our investments by someone that is in the investment industry on a daily basis, because at the time 4 years ago and carrying through to today, we have one person deciding that then it was 60 million, 70 million, now we're up to $100 million, and we need to have oversight from professionals so that, I mean, that's a lot of money, and this is the public's money, and the responsibility for those funds lie on us. So if anyone has comments or questions, I can try to answer them for you. I do have one point of clarification, and I guess this goes to legal. The option is to do both 1 and 2, or just to do 1?
As a matter of professional practice, whenever a city council passes an urgency ordinance, I always recommend they pass the same language as a regular ordinance, just in case the urgency findings were ever challenged. Because the regular ordinance would be in effect by that point,
right.
And therefore any challenge would be moved.
Okay. And I don't have any problem with soliciting for an RFP and talking to and doing this, because as taxes increase and our designated fund balances increase, and the market, the bond market especially now, and everything is really going to pot, we need the best possible advice, and it is not fair to it's just not fair to have one person that, well, it's not good practice, let's put it that way. It's not, unless you're a professional in the business, and I was a stockbroker, and I've probably forgotten more than I ever knew, but it's a scary place, and you really need somebody who is bonded and has a lot more information and expertise when we get into the types of investments that, or the quantity that we have going forward. Okay, now item 13 of 30, or page 13 of 30 on this item, just for clarity, we have an elected treasurer. Yes. This does not, not replacing the elected treasurer. This is just delegating the investment authority to a firm, and it clearly spells out in here what the city treasurer's role will be, and essentially she will be a checks and balance for the investment company. So just so that that's clear. Does anybody else have any questions or questions for legal? All right, so if we have no further questions, does anybody want to entertain a motion? We all look at each other and go for it. It's going to be that tiring yet. I will make the motion to go with recommendation for the city council that we approve item item 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And before you vote, Mayor, I would ask the city clerk to read the ordinances by title.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the resolution, the urgency resolution reads as follows. Number 1, approve an urgency ordinance adding Division 6 to Article 3 to Chapter 2 of the Hammond Municipal Code related to the City Treasurer. And number 2, introduce for first reading an ordinance adding Division 6 to Article 3 to Chapter 2 of the Hammond Municipal Code related to the City Treasurer, and accordingly the resolution that accompanies that item. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I will take a roll call vote. Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Crupan?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nails?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
That motion carries 5-0, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And now part of this, item number 5, we need to appoint an ad hoc committee for going over the proposals that will be submitted to the city, since this is something that we have to delegate, and it needs to be us, not staff. So, you want to be on that?
I'll be on that.
All right, does anybody else want to be on that? Or I will.
Looks like it's you.
Okay.
Well, you and I have been dealing with this since
Right.
for a while.
Okay. All right, so Linda and I will be the ad hoc committee. Okay, then we're going to move on to city council reports. Councilmember Brown.
Okay, just the first thing I'd report on is I'll let Linda do the Water Master Board. Western Community Energy meets tomorrow, so I'll have a report at our next meeting. Western Riverside Council of Governments, WRCOG as we call it, just mentioning that at our last meeting we had a proclamation recognizing Rick Bishop. He's retiring as the director of WRCOG. And at the executive board meeting that was held last week, there was considerable discussion about how to go about replacing his position. Rick agreed to stay on as in a consulting basis while they go forward with their recruitment. So they're going to do an RFP and do a search for a new director. But there's an awful lot of irons in the fire, so to speak, that WRCOG has going on. So the executive board was very pleased that Rick agreed to stay on and in a consulting role because he has that depth of expertise in the 20-some-odd years that he's been in that role. Yesterday, we held the division meeting of Cal Cities, formerly League of California Cities. Mayor Pro Tem Mayles was on the Zoom meeting, and as well as Councilmember Krupa and I and our city manager. And it was good that we had a good representation because the keynote speaker was a newly appointed safety director. Yeah. It's a new position that is created at the state level with Caltrans, and the presenter has tremendous expertise and credentials in engineering and safety and a lot of background. And the specific topic was the culmination of a task force recommending an alternative way of setting speed limits as opposed to the 85th percentile. And they're coming up with some new criteria. So it's very encouraging. And I think that I didn't hear any opposition from any of the representatives of the other cities from our division that were on that Zoom meeting. And so I think it's going to be really good because the 85th percentile is archaic. And basically what it does is it allows aggressive drivers to essentially set speed limits because it's the 85th percentile. When they do a speed survey, it's the speed at which 85% of the motoring public travels. And so essentially if you have a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit and people are doing 40, 85% of people doing 40, you set the speed limit at 40. And then people do 45, and the next time you do the study. So incrementally it goes up to the point where safety is no longer the consideration. So there's a lot of components and moving parts. So it's long overdue, and I'm looking forward to seeing something come through at that at the state level. Awesome. And that's all I have.
That's great. Councilmember Krupa. The library, Kathy said, just tell everybody to keep on reading, checking out books and keep on reading. Their statistics are very impressive, and Kathy went over them at our last trustee meeting of basically the per capita usage comparison between other cities, and Hemet
just was off the charts in so many of the areas as the number of people that are served, and especially now during COVID, the fact that the little kiosk out front has been doing a yeoman's job and apparently got tired and needs a couple new pieces put in it. The summer reading program will be coming up. They're preparing the grab bags for the kids, and this year's theme is Tales and Tales. T-A-L-E-S and T-A-I-L-S. I'm not sure which order they're in. Let's see. You touched on the 85th percentile. RCTC is tomorrow, and RCTC has started what is called, I think it's called Riverside Express or Express Riverside, which is the transponder thing that you can get in the account you can get, and it will cover all toll lanes and express lanes in Riverside County. So it'll be the 91, the 60, part of the 10 if there's anything on that, and the 215 and the 15. So, we're getting our name on the map as far as Riverside Express. Riverside Transit, because of the low turnout in some of the routes that RTA has had for bus service, some of them have been dropped, but they will be reevaluated as soon as we come out of our COVID restrictions. The local chapter of TNOW meets tomorrow at 1 o'clock. With the Ramona Bowl Board, lots of construction that has been going on up there. The gift shop is finished. They're going to be putting a new roof on, I'm not sure which one of the buildings is leaking, but they're old. So a new roof is going to be going on. And with the water master at the last board meeting, we approved lowering the assessment fee for the cities and the water agencies. When we first got started with the water master back in April of 2012, maybe, the TAC advisory had set the assessment at $50 an acre foot that all entities had to pay. By the second year, there was a surplus in the bank, and we voted at that time to drop the assessment fee to, I think it was to $30 or $35, with the mindset that cities and agencies can invest and use their money far better than the water master can invest it or use it, because we didn't have any projects coming up. So after that, the next couple years were good, and then we had to bump it back up to whatever, and this year it's like, let's drop it again. We've got the reserves that we wanted to have. We've got the projects going forward to test the wells and measure the level of the aquifer and to do a lot of the recharge. So again, it's the basic assumption that cities and agencies can manage their money a lot better than giving it to the water master, and it'll just sit in a CD or something, because we're not into the investment banking. And that's it. Oh, one more thing. There are several groups in town that are going to be doing community cleanup on March 27th from 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. And the premise of the whole thing is just pick your area. Pick where you want to go. So my Rotary Club is going to work with the Salvation Army, and Lieutenant James will come up with a project, and whether it's cleaning up the horrible dirty lot to the east of them or clean up around their property or whatever, we'll be out in full force. And just an encouragement, the time's from 8 to 10:30 on the 27th. The Just Serve group, which is the website where you can sign up to volunteer for cleanups and also designate what needs to be cleaned up, is kind of the leading force, and they've sent emails to like 35 different nonprofits and different groups who are out there cleaning their, so it should be a massive cleanup. And when we do our priorities and we get back to the Make Hemet Beautiful again and have a day when 85,000 people will go out on the streets and clean it up, that is my report.
Maybe we'll have dumpsters by then. Oh, sorry. That's 3 council members, or 4 now. Yeah. Allergies. Yes, okay. Councilmember Lilienthal.
There's nothing to report on these items.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Mills?
Oh, you're done?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay, nothing new on the skate park, no meetings. Again, the Kingdom Project Adopted Block is every Saturday from 9 to 12. We did a great job this last Saturday. A lot of people showed and got a lot of garbage off, a lot of the empty fields that are off of Florida, and cleaned it up pretty nice. We're getting more citizens to use the C-Click Fix application, and I'm getting monthly reports now on that, so I'm able to put that on the Facebook and share with the people that I have on Facebook, the citizens. Palm Springs, looks like they've opened up their restaurants and bars, so they're open till 2 a.m. Anybody want to have a beer after the meeting? The Planning Commission, conformance of the City of Hemet's Capital Improvements Program, CIP for fiscal year 2020-21. With the City of Hemet, general plan motion was adopted and approved and was seconded this last Tuesday. Community action of Riverside, our meeting is not until next week or this week, or I'll have to check, but I think it's next week. But I did receive their bylaws, and I'm going over them now. And the agenda for next week, there's a free virtual tax preparation available to the Community Action Committee. So if anyone's interested in getting their taxes done for free, you can go to VIDA, or actually email VIDA@capriverside.org, or call 951-955-4900. League of California Citizens, or Cities, Russ mentioned the 85 percentile. They're doing away with it, and so that's good. I kind of like the idea, though, if people sped and went faster, the speed limit would go higher. So I hate to lose that. One thing you didn't mention is we're having that virtual wine tasting on April 29th, and that's going to be hosted by AT&T. And I guess we did had a pretty good discussion about SB 9, and the city, the League of Cities, our California Cities, is really not interested in that unless there's amendments to it. So that's about all.
All right. What I have to report tonight is it's great to see the community coming together and all these different events. I see so many different groups doing cleanups and using C-Click Fix. When you have your cleanup day, remind everybody as they're walking around, like sometimes, they can't pick up the couch that they're passing, but they can click it. Yes, and so I feel bad for the city staff because on Saturdays when we have the cleanups, we kind of go over using C-Click Fix before, and so I'm sure like all of a sudden the blocks of the cleanups are, on fire, but it's excellent. We're meeting community members during these cleanups, and so as everyone is doing this, keep this in mind, but the streets around the Living Way Church, the My City Youth Center, we are trying to engage with the community here and engage and empower them to have community meetings. And so we had our first one last week, and it was amazing to get involved with the people in these different areas and letting them know that there are resources out there. So the community coming together is exciting. Malcolm presenting all these awards tonight. I was thinking that maybe you were going to do the whole city, and so I was scared that we wouldn't have any awards for the rest of the year. And then I realized that this is how active everybody is right now, and so, all right, we're excited, and thank you for doing that and taking the time. Okay, next we have our ad hoc committee reports. Council Protocol Committee.
We are in the final stretch on this. We have a meeting scheduled for this Thursday with the city attorney to go over and finalize all of the amendments that he's recommending, and we're going to do that as a Zoom meeting, and he'll have the document up live, so if we tweak anything, it can be done right there on the spot. So I envision that at the conclusion of that meeting, we'll have something ready to turn over and get on an agenda for council review and approval.
Excellent. The CDBG COVID ad hoc committee.
Yeah,
This is Krupa and Brown.
Yeah, we can take that off because we finished that up
That's what I was
last meeting.
thinking. Okay. Banking RFP ad hoc committee. Okay.
So, Mayor, if I could, we did receive proposals, so it probably does make sense to have that ad hoc come together to review those proposals.
Perfect. Excellent. Our Vision and Mission ad hoc committee. I'm going to pass out these to you all. These are, you guys, we've done a lot of work. We've done a lot of work, and it's only March, but these are just a summary of the notes, okay? These are not still for, Chris is going to put them into a presentation for council to approve, but just so that you have the tallies and everything that we discussed. He hasn't finished it yet? I know. He's working on it. I told you, only 100 things at a time. Yeah, yes. He's getting there. Here are these two. So that's what we have. We will, it's exciting to see like our priorities come together, and then as they bring things to us, it just like checks right off the list, right? So, okay, cleanup graffiti ad hoc committee, Lilienthal Mills.
We know that that's still happening because I presented over an award. I just had one more individual use his time on probation to go around and clean up some more graffiti.
Excellent.
Specifically on a building next to where I work, new graffiti popped up. Location of Palm and Mayberry. More graffiti showed up, and then I think it's the back of Homestead on Palm Street. He also covered that up too, and then he covered up a couple other more areas. So we're slowly working on it. Yeah.
You're waiting on your trash receptacle?
Huh?
You're waiting on a trash receptacle?
Yeah. So trying to see if we can get a trash receptacle for
creative ideas.
All good thing, or like an area where they can take it, and then it could be collected somehow, something like that.
I have something for your ad hoc committee, but right now, CR&R is, a resident called and complained to me that they called for a bulk pickup, and you know how we have 2 a year? They're about 5 weeks, 6 weeks behind. So then that leads to trash about our city.
Out on the sidewalk.
And then not in our contract, this is wild stuff, apartment complexes are not included in bulk pickups. So then items get thrown across the street. Now it all is checking out. So anyways, in our receptacle concept, if there are ways or places that people can dump things, even a lady in an apartment is asking for, what do I do and how can I get my trash, because she doesn't have a truck, and so she's trying to be responsible. So we've got to figure out how to address these.
Okay.
You can put that on your
I'll put that on my to-do list.
Thanks. Okay, our homeless ad hoc committee. We are working on getting a meeting with the czar in San Jacinto. I don't know what her official title is, but Robin came up from Temecula and is helping in San Jacinto. So we're working on a meeting with their group and the city, so and also with Sabova. So then we are all on the same page for solutions. That would be kind of helpful. Yep, awesome. And business outreach ad hoc. Mills, Lilienthal, did you guys meet this since last week?
I'm just wondering when we're going to get the grant, have the grants available for businesses. I thought that was coming soon.
That will, I mean, we got to present the need and it's a whole process. So
I know there's a whole process, but I thought we were going to have forms or something for them to fill out in order to apply for a grant that we have maybe put somewhere for that.
The city doesn't have money for it, but there are different through the county and CDBG.
you approved $300,000 at the last meeting for up to $10,000 per business, and I'm assuming that Erica has the forms. Okay.
So we're finalizing the program, making sure that it's all in compliance with HUD. So we're going through that process right now. So the council allocated the funding, but it hasn't allocated any dollars to any businesses yet. So we're moving as fast as we can, but it is a process.
As soon as all of the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, we work with the Chamber of Commerce in getting the information out, as well as putting it on social media for the city.
Yeah, I've already reached out to the chamber even before I went to or when the agenda was posted, and let them know that it was coming up on their radar, so they know about the program.
Very good, thank you.
Any idea, though, when this is going to go into effect?
No, we're trying to finalize the program.
I would only say to that, Mayor Pro Tem, staff exercising caution in how they spend CDBG money, making sure that they're complying with all the regulations. There are a lot of strings attached with this stuff, as this city council, I'm sure, is familiar with. And the city, staff taking their time a little bit. I know sometimes it seems like it's slow, but sometimes going slow is the fastest way to get where you want to go when it comes to the federal government.
When you're dealing with HUD, slow is better.
Thank you for that, Stephen. And it's not too far in the distant past where we were having to deal with HUD issues. So just remember that.
So the next step in the process is the applications out?
Yeah, we're finalizing the program parameters, the forms, and all the collateral material associated with that. The council will see that before it goes public, though. So we'll make sure to share it with the council.
And I don't want to forget City Manager Lopez report. I'm really good at forgetting that, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items today. Really excited to be working on the strategic plan and the priorities that the council has established. I've had individual conversations with all of you. I don't think I had a chance to talk to Malcolm. What we are doing now is we've taken those overarching goals. We're now, I refer to that as the skeleton. So now our team is starting to put the meat on the skeletons. And so that will comprise of program concepts, as well as performance metrics, objectives, all of that, to really give it some teeth and really give it some bones, to have it take light and have it take shape into what we would want to, what the council would want to adopt collectively in that. In addition to that, we're also aligning that with our budget conversations, so the timing is absolutely perfect. So we've got a few things that are going on. One thing that we will be doing is we've got a graphic artist that we've contracted with that will be providing some graphic art services for not only the strategic plan, but the budget as well as the CIP, so that we have comprehensive themes and consistency across all of the documents. So we're working on that right now. We're looking forward to having some of those conversations with the council and putting the meat on the bones. It's a really exciting time. That concludes my update tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next we have item number 23, future agenda items. And I do have one motion to make on here. I move that we correct the minutes for the December 8th meeting of 2020 to reflect the full financial audit that we passed 5-0. They are, I just looked back in the minutes and they're not in the minutes, and it's not on this list. And it could probably be in place of item number 4 here, because that will, unless you want to do a slash or whatever you want to do. But we voted on that on December 8th, and it's just missing off this list. So that is a motion if you want to have a second.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Kuka? Yes. Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mills?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
The motion carries 5-0, Mayor. Thank you.
So you can put that on line 4. Okay, so we don't add another thing, but anyways, if anybody else wants to add something. We gave them the whole booklet too, so for that. Wait a minute, we passed out that your mission and vision statement. That's like more dangerous than this now. You have enough on there, Chris? Are you okay with only having 11?
I think so, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. With that, we will adjourn the meeting to our next regularly scheduled meeting. Thank you.